YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a guide for everything in the Sanctuary. You must be a new player, so you probably do not know what any of this means or what's the best way to optimize this. So don't worry, I'll go through everything, and yeah, let's get to it. Alright, the first thing I'm going to talk about is the Breath of Orbis, because if you take a look here, you're going to need to use these Breath of Orbises to upgrade each and every one of your buildings in here. So it's pretty important to talk about this first because, well, how are you going to do anything if nothing's upgraded? One thing to note is that there's no way to get a maximum amount of Breath of Orbises. So even as an endgame player, look at me, I'm missing Breath of Orbises. They just never really released enough. So if you played through the game and realize you don't have enough, it's okay. They just never released enough. So I'll just talk about the priority of what you should put into first, and yeah, get to going to it. So I think the first thing for a new player is actually going to be the Forest of Souls. Now the reason why I think going into Forest of Souls is very important is because you're going to at least look at it like this. You're going to put everything into your Time of Blessing, which is going to lower the amount of growth altar. As a new player, you're probably going to live in unrecorded history, and lowering the amount of stigma that you need to spend on the penguins, which you can use to sell to get gold, as well as using your penguins to level up units. You're going to really need to just buy it so it just lowers the cost. I'm telling you, it's going to add up over time, and you're going to love that you invest in this early, so you're actually getting more penguins and more gold for your stigma. In this section here, I start to yap about not buying spirit blooms from here because it's not a good investment, but after doing calculations, that may not be correct, so I'll just exclude that from the video. So you may be able to buy blooms here. Next up here is the Heart of Orbis. This is completely optional. I still have it 333 because honestly, once again, it adds up, but it honestly does not give a ton of rewards. So if you want to take your Breath of the Orbis elsewhere, that is completely fine. This is also another optional one. I recommend having only one Breath of Orbis here in either one of the two, depending on what you need. You can use this to farm ancient coins, which is very important, so you can farm some right side gear, because if you get, you're going to quickly notice that it's really hard to get necklace and ring charms. So if you farm this in the background, you're going to get some ancient coins, so you can buy some rings, some necklaces, or you can just get an ancient coin farm with you fiend. Tristan Wolf did a video on that. You can also farm some PvP coins here, or I'm sorry, conquest points, so you can get some left side pieces as well as some boot pieces instead, which once again helps you towards leveling more gear. Alright, we're getting into the meat and bones of where you should take all of your Breath of Orbises. You want to completely max out your Steel Workshop. This is where you buy your gear, this is where you get all of your gear. By investing in all of this, it lowers the amount of gold you spend on gear, it increases the chances of you getting higher rarity gear, as well as it reduces the amount of resources you're using, so you can get more gear for lower gold costs and everything. So make sure you fully invest in this. And once again, since you should be spending most of your time in unrecorded history, you may not touch this like pretty early on, but you're going to need this maxed out, so just go ahead and invest in it because it's still a really good investment. You can also get your Reforges here and so on and so forth, but we'll talk a little bit more about Steel Workshop in a second. And you should also fully invest all your rest of Orbises into Alchemist Steeple. It is the exact same reasoning as the workshop. It lowers the amount of gold you spend, it gives you a higher quality materials, as well as it makes it easier to get those higher quality materials in our Alchemist Steeple. Okay, so now let's explain what each and every one of them do. So, Steel Workshop, this is where you get all of your gear. Now, all these correspond to their hunts, and you're probably going to be spending most of your points here. Wyvern is probably where you're going to be living, so you're going to be spending everything here. You want to make sure you're crafting left side gear only. Now, as tempting as it's going to be to craft your boots and your necklace and your ring, it's just a little bit too inconsistent because there's just too many stats to hunt for. So it's generally recommended once you get to a higher level that you're just going to buy your pieces and you're going to extract them if it's really bad, and then use those to on your right side pieces once you get a bit longer into the game, and then you're going to use blue boxes that you get from your guild in order to craft right side gear, where you can specifically choose your main stats, which makes it a lot more easier to farm right side gear. When you get your epic craft, you also want to try to use those on your left side, because once again, those are more guaranteed stats rather than more randomized stats, so you can actually have a solid gear pool and you can pick up your right side gear a bit afterwards. Next up, let's talk about Reforging. You're not going to get this so early on in the game. I think you actually unlock this around like level 55. Reforging is also very important. It really just levels up your gear a little bit more, so that way you can get bonus stats. For instance, take a look at this gear piece here. It was 83 equipment score, which is pretty good, and it increases the stat line from 11 to 13 speed, gives us extra 5% attack, extra crit chance, and 11. To be honest with you, it doesn't look, and it just gives you better stat lines. It can take a 18 speeder up to a 22 speeder. It's all more the difference. So you're going to need a lot of these reforged materials, and you're going to get a lot of them from expeditions. So if you're wondering where to get a lot of reforged materials, it's going to be expeditions, and then it's going to be your regular hunts. So just make sure you're farming them, so that way you can get a lot of reforged materials so you can reforge your gear. Now, as for the crafted equipment, you can only get these from expeditions, so that's why it's also important that you're doing your expeditions. So if you're wondering where to get the reforged mat for your crafted materials, you're going to need to do your expos. Last but not least is the equipment resets for Steel Workshop. Pretty much you're going to avoid these early game. I don't see a reason why you're going to use them, because, well, yeah. But general rule of thumb, the only reason why you're going to be using your reset stones is if it's a good 88 piece like this, or it's something that's guaranteed good stat line with a good starting score. That is the only reason you should be using it on it, because otherwise it is a waste of time. For instance, look at this Ancient Inheritance piece. It's a 9v6. Now technically this is a little bit on the lower end for Ancient Inheritance, so if I wanted to, I can reset this piece so I can try to get a higher roll. But I should not be using it on anything that's like 104. This is already a good stat line. Or I should not be using it on a 70 on this piece here, because actually no, I could use it, because I don't know if this is, no, this is a fake 88 piece. So don't use it on this. This is a fake 88 piece. This is low. You could use it on your labyrinth gear, but once again, I would prefer to use it on stuff that's more guaranteed high rolls, like the perfect 88 gear from Ancient Inheritance, or something that's at least the perfect stat line here, where you can see like 5 speed and so on, which is a lot higher. One last thing to note is you can only use these purple gems towards your 88 pieces, and all your regular pieces you can use on your regular crafted equipment. We're at the Alchemist Steeple. This is a lot to talk about here, so stay with me. I'll try to keep it a little slow so you guys can process information here. So the first part here is charms. You use some of the you use some of the cores that you get from extracting equipment to make some of these charms here. If you have a ton of these, go ahead and do it. It gives you some extra charms to level up some more of your gear. You can use this more for your right side gear, but if you do need these, to be sure to keep them, so that way you can actually craft the gear. But if you're really in desperate need for charms, you can do that. I generally do not, because it does take a lot, but if you are getting a lot of gear, crafting a lot of gear, then you can 100% do that. It gives you some more level storage gear. This you're probably never going to need. This is just exchanging your crafting materials that you get. It's nothing much. I highly doubt you're really going to use it. I use it probably just to clear off my weekly challenges, and that's probably it. You're really just not going to use this. As I was referring to in like the workshop for the gear crafting, this is where you're going to be able to actually craft your own gear for the specific stat you want. So you get these gems here from your blue boxes, and you can pick whichever stat you want and so on. You want to make sure you're picking the golden ones if you're trying to craft any main stat. The blue ones are for flat stats, so you want to make sure you're not taking the blue ones if you're trying to craft anything on the right side. The yellow ones are going to give you the percentage. So this is where you're going to come over here and take your HP and then craft your HP percent necklaces you can come over here and craft your speed boots. I accidentally clicked out. And just so on and so forth. So this is where you're going to be able to do so. So this is why you should be extracting gear, so you can go ahead and craft. And speaking about this, I should maybe go craft myself an HP necklace on speed set, but I don't have speed. Oh man, wait, I could do destruction HP. I actually do need those. And look at that, I got a 29 equipment score piece with pretty trash substats. So I just extract it because I don't see myself using this. And then I get back some of the cores I use so I can go craft some more. Next up is Catalyst here. In the past, this was honestly very bad to use, but they changed it so now it's a direct exchange for Catalyst. So you can actually put in about 6 Catalyst and get back around 6 Catalyst, which makes it a lot better than before. Now, you probably should still be farming your Catalyst so that way you don't have to exchange it, but if you really do need to, exchanging here is actually not a bad idea. Now, I honestly do not know if the exchange is even for rare epics as well, but if it is, I can test it for you because I can just buy it. I can really just buy it. So we'll put 3 into this, and it is, you get 3 back. You get 3 back. So it's also even exchange for epic Catalyst. So everything here is all even exchange. So if you needed anything, you can exchange it, and unlike the past, it's not worse. This is where you can guarantee a little bit more exclusive equipment. So if you're rolling your exclusive equipment and we're failing a lot, this is where you put in your exclusive equipment to get the one you want. Now it takes 7 in order to guarantee the one you want, and you can pick it and it will be the maximum percentage of it. So if you've been rolling and you're just not getting what you want, you can just select what you want. Now, if a EE just released on the most recent patch, it will not be here. So if you're rolling a ton and be like, oh, I'm just gonna go craft it, well, you can't, because for some reason you physically can't. Lastly, here is the modification gems. You can get these by extracting your mod gems, and you want to extract your gray ones. I haven't done that myself because, well, every specific mod gem will go. Okay, it's not allowing me to. Oh no, don't select those. Whoa. Oh, don't do that. Okay, it's selecting. Okay, I don't want it to select those. Okay, there we go. So you can select this, but it's going to extract on that same piece. So it's going to extract for like hit set and stuff, right? So like something I would want to get rid of is, I would say, like, let's take a look. We would never really need defense, flat defense on a rage piece. So we would extract those, and I'm still selecting my hit set. Be gone. And then we would get some cores off of it. It will not be specific, it will just be cores. And then you come over here and say you want some speed mod gems, and you just put it into here and max it out. This way you can get some randomized speed gems, and you want to make sure this way you can get some more greater mod gems rather than the lobby ones that give you lower percentage values. Okay, I think that is pretty much it for the Sanctuary. So yeah, I don't think there's really much else to talk about other than this right side part. The Steel Workshop and the Alchemist Steeple is pretty much the heart and soul of the Sanctuary, so that is really the most to talk about. The other things is not so much, but yeah. Next video, I'll probably be talking about the better way for you to level up your characters, which is by not buying these, so stay tuned for that. Anyways, see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.